ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ओम श्री महागणपतये नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो। तो नमस्ते once again everyone.
Namaste Guruji.
So we will chant Vidya Karma Virodhacha
विद्या कर्म विरोधाश्च
Nahi
नहि
ब्रह्मात्मैकत्वदर्शनेन
ब्रह्मात्मैकतत्त्वदर्शनेन
सह कर्म
सह कर्म
स्वप्नेपि संपादयितुं शक्यम्
संभावयितुं शक्यं
विद्यायाः
विद्यायाः
कालविशेषाभावात्
कालविशेषाभावात्
अनियतनिमित्तत्वात्
अनियतनिमित्तत्वात्
कालसंकोच अनुपपत्तिः
कालसंकोच अनुपपत्तिः
यत्तु गृहस्थेषु ब्रह्मविद्या संप्रदायकर्तृत्वादिलिङ्गम् न तत् स्थितं न्यायम् बाधितुम् उत्सहते न हि विधीशते नापि तमप्रकाशयोरेकत्र सद्भावः शक्यते कर्तुम् किमुत लिङ्गैः केवलैः इति। Very good. Now you can all mute yourself. The background noise will come otherwise. Okay. So Bhagavan Bhashyakara is now discussing the topic of adhikari. Who is the person qualified for reaching the goal of moksha by the study of Mundaka Upanishad, or for that matter any Upanishad. So it is generally said, and which we have seen right from Tattva Bodha study, that a person who is sadhana chatushtaya sampanna is the adhikari for Brahma Vidya. Bhashyakara doesn't deny that, but he qualifies this statement by emphasizing that the main adhikari for the study of Upanishad is a sannyasi, who is a sadhana chatushtaya sampanna. So he says that a brahmachari can study the Upanishad, grihastha can do, vanaprastha can do, sannyasi also can do. But the main adhikari for the study of Upanishad, for this gaining this Brahma Vidya, is a sannyasi. Now, as we saw, he emphasizes this point because he wants to establish that Brahma Vidya does not need the support of Vaidika karmas to attain moksha. Because the Upanishad say, Jnana matrena moksha hai. Jnanena tu eva kaivalyam. Moksha is gained only through knowledge and nothing else is required. So, Bhashyakara wants to dismiss the stand taken by what we saw as the Jnana Karma Samuchayavadis, who say that both karma, performance of Vaidika karma and Jnanam, combination of that is required for moksha. Bhashyakara wants to say that is not the correct understanding of the Veda. And since a sannyasi would have formally renounced all the Vaidika karmas and would be exclusively engaged in Brahma Vidya, Bhashyakara says he is most eligible for moksha. He is the main adhikari. And in support of his contention, he quoted two mantras from the Upanishad. This very same Mundaka Upanishad. Bhaikshcharyam charantah and sannyasa yogat. So he produced Shruti Pramanam for his standpoint or his interpretation. Now in this paragraph, starting with Vidya Karma Virodacha, which we just now chanted, Bhashyakara presents the Yukti Pramana, the logical reason why Jnana Karma Samuchaya is not possible logically also. And the main point he's making is, he says, because Jnanam and Karma are opposed to each other. And so they cannot be combined. This knowledge of Brahman and Karma, action, especially Vaidika Karma, are opposed to each other. They are like light and darkness and cannot coexist at the same place at the same time. Why? A very important point he makes. He says, Brahma Vidya is of the nature of understanding that I am Brahma, which definitely implies that I am Akarta, Abhokta. I am a non-doer and non-enjoyer. So, understanding of Brahman is in the form of understanding I am Akarta and Abhokta. And he says this understanding cannot go along with karma, which involves this particular understanding that I am a karta. Because karma requires kartritva attitude. People perform karmas by understanding that they are kartas. They are the doers of nitya naimittika karma. So kartritvam is involved in karma, whereas akartritvam is emphasized in vidya. So he says these cannot go together. And therefore, this jnana karma samuchaya is not possible. So on the one hand, I am saying in vidya that I am a karta. And on the other side, I will have to say I am a karta. So I am a karta and I am a karta also at the same time. And these two are opposite attributes. And therefore he says, Vidya karma virodacha, na karma sahita vidya moksha sadhanam. This is the main sentence, in the beginning. Then elaborating, he says that along with the vision of oneness of Brahma and Atma, the self being Brahman, action cannot be done. Not only in the waking state, but it is impossible to combine them even in the dream. Swapnepi, he says, to emphasize the impossibility. All this we saw in the last class. I'm just giving you a gist of, so that we connect, go ahead from there. We have the context in our mind. Then he addresses another hypothetical argument that if this vidya and karma cannot be combined, why can't they be performed one after the other? So for some time I do karma as a karta, and at other times I pursue Brahma Vidya with the attitude of a karta. So partially I am a karta and partly I am a karta. Split personality. Why is it not possible? Could be a hypothetical question. Bhashyakara dismisses this argument also by saying that whereas the performance of Nitya Naimitika karmas is governed by time intervals, occurrence of certain events, pursuit of Brahma Vidya has no such time restriction. Once one has gained the knowledge that one is akarta, then that knowledge will not disappear for a period of time to switch over to assuming that one is karta. Jnanam is not like Nitya karma and Naimittika karma, which is limited by a particular period of time or a particular nimitta. Jnanam is available all the time. Once a person has understood himself to be Brahman, it is not that he understands that Aham Brahmasmi during a particular period of time in the day, and other periods he loses that understanding and so can do karma. Once a person has understood I am akarta abhokta, then that understanding is there forever. Once he has understood Aham Brahmasmi, it will always be Aham Brahmasmi only. Now, somebody may ask, or does it mean that this wise person will be saying all the time, closing his eye, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi? He will meditate on Aham Brahmasmi. He may meditate on Aham Brahmasmi, no doubt. But he will do that always chanting Aham Brahmasmi to establish that Jnanam is always there. So that he doesn't forget. Of course, knowledge once it comes, he cannot forget it. So the answer to this hypothetical question also is no. See, this is the beauty of Bhashyam. Even if such questions has not occurred in our mind, Bhashyakara will assume that someone can potentially raise such a question. So he will raise that question and proceed to answer that. So he says, when the answer is that the person will not be saying Aham Brahmasmi all the time, because he has already got the Jnanam of Aham Brahmasmi. So the vritti or the thought is not there. So when the vritti or thought is not there, how can we say that all the time Brahma Jnanam is there? You understand the question, no? First of all, he is asking, will this person, the Jnani, keep on saying Aham Brahmasmi, so that he establishes that he is a akarta. And as one with Brahman, I am an akarta. So he cannot do karma. Now the next question is, does this person, let him not say, at least the thought of Aham Brahmasmi, the vritti, Well, what is vritti? Vritti is a thought, and which is what comes out of our mouth rather. So if you say that this fellow will not be thinking of Aham Brahmasmi all the time, the thought will not be there, then how do you say that all the time Brahma Jnanam is there? So this is again a valid question, isn't it? Because if we have to exhibit our knowledge, first the thought of that knowledge should come. Then only we can exhibit that we have that knowledge. So when such a question is asked, we ask a counter question. What is that? Has he forgotten that he is Brahman when he is not remembering that he is Brahman? When we don't remember, when I don't remember I am Brahman, does it mean that I have forgotten that I am Brahman? Again, the answer is no. And here, one commentator gives a very beautiful explanation. He says, once you have learned something with the help of a pramana, especially about yourself, then there cannot be any forgetfulness, even if the thought or vritti is not there all the time. For example, the thought that I am a man or a woman, or I hail from so and so place, or so and so is my mother or my father, this thought need not be there all the time for us to spontaneously remember these details. Not having the thought is not forgetfulness. Because when do you say you have forgotten? When you try and try to remember what you knew, but you are unable to find out. So when you are struggling to find out where am I from, which place I am from, it still doesn't come, then it is said to be forgotten. In the case of a wise person, he has doubtless knowledge about his real nature, real identity. He has done nididhyasanam to push this identity into his subconscious. Therefore, there is no need for a thought to occur for him to remember Aham Brahmasmi. That jnanam will always be there with him, along with the knowledge that he is akarta, abhokta. So there is no question of forgetting his knowledge at any time, so that at the time he forgets, he can do karma. As and when the knowledge is required, it is available in the background. So for a Brahmagyani, the Jnanam is not forgotten. And therefore, this suggestion that partly he can do karma, partly he can do Jnanam, pursue Brahma Vidya, is not tenable. And then Bhashyakara further strengthens this argument. He says, Aniyata nimittatvat anupattihi. What does it mean? He says, there is no specific condition to be met to remember that one is Brahman. It is not that only when he is doing meditation that he will remember that he is Brahman and not at other times. Because we have got some politicians, who change their identities, their attire, etc. during election times. In one election, they will be like Hindus. In another election, they will wear the dress of a Muslims. In a third election, they will be wearing all this Christian, this thing with a cross and all chain in a chain. Brahmagyani is not like that. Once you have got a jnanam 24/7, all through that jnanam will be there. So Bhashyakara says there is no nimitta, any specific condition for him to abide in this knowledge. And since karma has got specific conditions, Sandhya Vandanam has to be performed at these times only. Kala Sankocha is there. And jnanam has kala vishesha abhava. Again, there is opposition. Jnana karma samuchaya is not possible. See, one small point, how Bhashyakara goes into depths in order to dismiss the viewpoint of the opponent. Rather. And it's all logical. He has quoted both Shruti as well as logic. So this is how the Jnana Karma Samuchaya, he deals with that. Logically, he deals with it. And in the next sentence, Bhashyakara explains one more technical point. We have already read the sentence, so I will not repeat. I will myself read words. Yattu grihasteshu Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrutwadi Lingam na tat stitanyayam baditum utsahate. Very, very technical point, but it's a very, very deep point. So again here, Bhashyakara is giving a possible answer to a possible doubt. This Jnana Karma Samuchayavadi, he will say, okay, you can give all arguments against Jnana Karma Samuchaya. But if the Shastra itself is mentioning that Jnana and Karma are combined, then what will you do? So if we get enough clues, it may not say so, outwardly, but when we read the Shastra, we get enough clues, enough hints from the Shastra itself about Jnana Karma Samuchaya, then they say, Bhashyakara, you have to accept it. Because you cannot deny the validity of the Shastra Pramana. So here, what is Purva Pakshi, of course, I don't know how many of you know what is Purva Pakshi. Perhaps I don't remember whether I explained. Purva Pakshi is not some exotic bird, right? Normally, Pakshi means we think it's a bird. Paksham in Malayalam means side. Okay, so Purva Pakshi means normally the opposite side, the opposite viewpoint is called a Purva Pakshi. And this fellow is a Siddhanti. The person who is explaining, defending his position is a Siddhanti. Just for information. So here the Purva Pakshi, that is the Jnana Karma Samuchayavadi, points out that in Mundaka Upanishad itself, we are seeing the description of the teachers of Brahma Vidya. First three mantras we have already seen, in the Upodghata Bhashyam itself, in the Sangati Bhashyam, what the contents of the three mantras are. So this Vidya was taught by Brahmaji, and he first taught this Vidya to his son and disciple Atharva. So having a son itself is the sign of Brahmaji being a grihastha, isn't it? If he was a sannyasi, where is the question of son? Brahmacharya, no son. Grihastha, only son. And also, this Vidya, later on the third mantra, second and third mantra say that this Vidya was taught to Angiras and Shaunaka. And the Upanishad itself says that Shaunaka is a Mahashala who had a huge Yagyashala or Pakashala. Both cases, whether he had a Yagyashala or Pakashala means the kitchen, big kitchen. Because those days, grihasthas who could afford, they used to do a lot of annadana. So they needed a big kitchen for that. Continuously food will be prepared, and anybody comes around asking for food, they will not be denied. So Yagyashala means a place for ritual, big place for ritual. They will be doing so many yagas rather, as a grihastha. So whether it is Yagyashala or Pakashala, it shows he was a grihastha. Shaunaka is a Mahashala, I mean, it's a grihastha. And moreover, a sannyasi cannot have any shala. Sannyasi has to live on bhiksha only. And he has actually cut off all his relationship with Agni. So he is a Niragni. So here Brahmaji is a Grihastha, Shaunaka is also a Grihastha. And when Shastra is saying that there are these Grihastha teachers, there cannot be a Grihastha who will not be doing karma. See how beautifully it connects. This is the hint Shastra is giving. Grihastha means he should be doing karma because he cannot get away from karma. At the same time, they are Brahma Jnanis. So Jnanam also they have got. So they will have Jnanam. They will be doing karma. So Jnana Karma Samuchaya is possible. So the teachers of Brahma Vidya had Jnanam. They were householders and they were doing karma. So Jnanam and karma can go together even as per this very Upanishad. Very strong point. Very strong point. And this is answered by Bhashyakara in a very technical way. To understand the answer, first we have to get a very broad understanding of Mimamsa, the methodology used by Mimamsakas to extract the meaning of Veda Vakyas. I mentioned about Mimamsa in my introductory talk. Now, what the starting point of this Mimamsa is, it assumes that, not assumes, it understands that the Veda Vakyas, how to extract the meaning. Veda can convey an idea directly or indirectly. Like what here the Purva Pakshi is indicating. So what the Mimamsakas have done is, they have developed both direct and indirect methods to extract the message of the Veda Vakyas. When the Veda conveys some idea directly, it is called Shruti Pramanam. And when Veda conveys some idea indirectly, the interpretation is divided into 5 types. They are called Linga, Vakya, Sthana, Prakarana, and Samakhya. These are the 5 indirect methods to interpret the sentences when the Veda is conveying some idea indirectly. And also, in all these 6 pramanams, there are gradations. And in the list I just now read out, the latter one is weaker as compared to the former. Means, last one was Samakhya. The Samakhya method is weaker as compared to Sthana method. Sthana is weaker compared to Linga. And this is called Paradaurbhalyam. And this is all Mimamsa system. I am briefly explaining this for you to appreciate the point that Bhashyakara is making. Highly technical topics. You need not bother to remember them. It's all sort of I am feeding you as a extra information. But we need to understand that to understand Bhashyakara's approach. And of course, in this context, there are only 2, Shruti Pramanam and Linga Pramanam. These 2 only are relevant. So you can forget all the others, Samakhya, etc. We will restrict our discussion to these 2 only. So when Shruti says something directly, for example, it says for getting Jnanam, one has to go to the go to a teacher. Tad Vigyanartham Gurunam eva abhigachet. It says. The meaning is very straightforward. We don't need any Mimamsa to interpret it. Tad Vigyanartham, to know that Gurunam eva abhigachet. You must go to a Guru. Only a Guru eva, Gurunam eva. So this is Shruti Pramanam, and here the Veda Vakya is available, or Veda is available as Shruti Pramanam. But sometimes Shruti says something indirectly. And when that happens, that particular status of Veda cannot be Shruti Pramanam. It can be one of the 5 indirect methods. And here Bhashyakara is employing Linga. Linga argument to answer the Purva Pakshi. Linga means, technically, is a Shabda Samarthyam. So based on the meaning of the individual words, we can derive the idea. For example, if I say I am in Mumbai now, I am not saying that I am not in Coimbatore. But just by saying I am in Mumbai now implies that I am not in Coimbatore, isn't it? So this is an indirect way of saying that I am not in Coimbatore. So the idea that I am not in Coimbatore is presented indirectly. And the reason why Mimamsakas, they use these methods, especially in Karma Kanda, is to connect the karmas, dravyas, phalas, etc. Because if you study Karma Kanda, it's very complicated. The mantra will be at one place. The dravya, material required for the yagam, will be at some other place. Prayojana will be at a different place. So what they will do, they will have to study the whole thing. Remember where what is said, and then connect them together. So they use all the 6 pramanas, 1 direct and 5 indirect, to connect the various aspects. This is what is Mimamsa is all about. So in the example, when I say I am in Bombay now, indirectly he says I am not in Coimbatore. Okay. Now suppose, in the same example, if I add that yesterday I attended satsang in Coimbatore, this statement is stronger than the inference that I am in Mumbai and not in Coimbatore. Because I am making a direct statement that yesterday I attended a satsanga in Coimbatore. Stronger than an indirect suggestion that I am not in Coimbatore, isn't it? So this is direct pramana, which is more valid, more powerful compared to the indirectly derived idea. So how will you understand that what I have said, yesterday I was in Coimbatore, today I am not in Coimbatore. Not only today I am not in Coimbatore, today I am in Bombay. I am in Bombay is a stronger statement than to say I am not in Coimbatore, than to assume that I am not in Coimbatore. Because if I am in Bombay, I cannot be anywhere else. Coimbatore is only one of the places. So when you have a direct statements made, that is more powerful than all the inferences you gather from what is not said. Now you understand the difference between the direct pramana and the indirect pramana. If you have any doubt, please ask me at the satsang. I will clarify it. Because as I said, these are all very technical aspects. But not very easy for us to understand in the first go. You will still have doubt. But they are very simple to understand, actually speaking. But then since we have no orientation to all these things, in the initial stages, we may find some difficulty. Okay. So, as I was saying, the direct pramana, which is more valid, more powerful compared to the indirectly derived idea. So in this context, when Veda is saying some idea directly, then it becomes Shruti Pramana. But when some idea is derived indirectly from a statement in the Veda, then that is Linga Pramanam. Or it could be any one of the remaining four also. And this system has been beautiful system. See, because these days, Vedas are so vast, mantras are so complicated, that you require some methodology to interpret all of them, what is said there. And the Mimamsakas have developed a very, very robust system for that. And it is accepted, it is taught in the Vedic schools rather. And this system is used extensively by Vedantins also. In fact, if you study Brahma Sutra, all these things are extensively used. These are all techniques, employed in the Veda. So, Bhashyakara uses this method to answer the Purva Pakshi. Now, what did Bhashyakara say? We will read the sentence once again. I will read it so that we get the context back. Okay. Yattu grihasteshu Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartritvadi Lingam na tat stitanyayam bhaditum utsahate. So here up to lingam, yattu grihasteshu Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartritvadi Lingam, up to this is the statement of the Purva Pakshi. Then the second part, na tat stitanyayam bhaditum utsahate, is Bhashyakara's reply. So, what is said here? Yattu grihasteshu Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartritvadi Lingam. We can supply the verb bhavati in order to complete the sentence. Okay. So, tu, however, yat, which, grihasteshu means in the householders, lingam, indicator. Indicator in the form of what? Kartritvadi. Kartritvadi means the agent of teaching the knowledge of Brahma. Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartritvadi Lingam means the indicator in the form of householders, being teacher, etc., of the knowledge of Brahman. So up to this, he is just reached, Bhashyakara is restating the contention of the Purva Pakshi. And then proceeds to give the answer. And what is the contention of the Purva Pakshi? According to him, in the Mundaka Upanishad itself, we come across a number of teachers of Brahma Vidya who were Grihasthas. Rishis like Shaunaka had a huge Yagyashala or Pakashala, indicating that he was a Grihastha. He was performing large number of yagas. And since they are teachers who have Jnanam, they must be Jnani Grihasthas. So they will have Jnanam and they will have karmas also as a Grihastha. Ajnani Grihasthas do not have Jnanam, but they will have karmas. So the question of Samuchaya does not arise in the case of Ajnanis. Similarly, a sannyasi jnani will have jnanam, but no karmas. Again, the question of samuchaya will not arise in the case of a sannyasi. So only jnani grihasthas will have jnana karma samuchaya. And these jnani grihasthas cannot be grihasthas, cannot call themselves grihasthas without doing the vihita nitya naimittika karmas. And therefore, there is an indication in this Upanishad itself that the teachers of Brahma Vidya had Jnanam, they were householders and they were doing karma. Therefore, Jnanam and karma can go together even as per this very Upanishad. A very logically derived, strong contention. And in fact, there is a hidden agenda for the Jnana Samuchayavadis also. That is the biggest attack on them, on Bhashyakara by them. It's a personal attack actually, if you actually look at it. Because they want to attack the sannyasa ashrama itself. As I told you in one of the earlier classes, they don't, this jnana karma samuchayavadi, they don't believe in sannyasa. According to them, sannyasa is all just glorification. So, according to them, sannyasa can never get moksha. Why? Because they say that combination of jnanam and karma is required for moksha. And karma has to continue till the end of life. And therefore, first point is a person cannot take sannyasa. They say that only conception why sannyasa is mentioned in the Vedas is, according to them, if some person has got some debility, that he is physically handicapped or whatever it is, that person cannot do karma because of that. So he can take sannyasa. But then that person will not get moksha because he is not doing karma. Even though he may be able to get jnana. You understand? How convoluted argument. So, if you take that both jnanam and karma is required for moksha, then only a grihastha jnani is the adhikari for moksha. Bhashyakara is wrong saying that sannyasi is a main adhikari. That is their strong contention. And they are saying this because Bhashyakara, they say you will not get moksha. You are a sannyasi. You are not doing karma. You have given up all karma. So you are ineligible. They say, Adi Shankara, you are not eligible for moksha. You can have Brahma Jnanam, no doubt. But you are not doing karma, so you cannot get moksha. This is their contention. And our Siddhanta, Advaita Siddhanta regarding moksha and its sadhanam is what? A person practices karma yoga and upasana by which he or she attains chitta shuddhi and chitta naischalyam. Having attained this, a person does not require Vaidika karma or upasanas because the karma which he had done with the attitude of karma yoga has already paid off. He has got the chitta shuddhi, which is a prerequisite for jnanam. Chitta shuddhi is one of the, sadhana chatushtaya sampatti delivers the chitta shuddhi and chitta naichalyam. So then he becomes eligible for Brahma Jnanam and then he gets moksha. That is our moksha package. And so we say a person can renounce karmas formally and take up the pursuit of knowledge exclusively by taking to sannyasa ashrama. And because Veda says that jnana matrena moksha, that person can pursue jnana yoga and by that he attains moksha. And this is our moksha plan based upon Upanishad teaching. And therefore, Bhashyakara never compromises when it comes to Upanishad. He never mixes up. That's why he says he's a Shastra Dvayavyadi. Shastra Dvayavadi. He says the Karma Kanda is separate, Upanishad is separate. Don't confuse, put them together and confuse yourself. And what is the answer he gives? He says, Natat stitanyayam bhaditum utsahate. We have to do a small anvaya here. Bring that na to before utsahate. So tat stitam nyayam bhaditum na utsahate we should do the anvaya. So here tat refers to the lingam. The lingam pramanam which the Purva Pakshi is quoting. So tat lingam, that lingam pramanam you are quoting, na utsahate, is not capable. Utsahate means capable. Na utsahate means not capable. Lingam is not capable of what? Baditum means dismissing, negating. Negating what? Stitanyayam, established reasoning. Sthita means established, Nyayam means reasoning. So the Linga Pramanam, being a weaker Pramanam compared to Shruti Pramanam, is not capable of negating the established reasoning. So Bhashyakara first points out that Purva Pakshi's assertion is based on Linga Pramanam. Indirectly, you are deriving because they were teachers of Brahma Vidya, because they were Grihasthas, that therefore they should have been doing karma. This is the indirect derivation of the Purva Pakshi. So they must have been doing, so their Jnana Karma Samuchaya is possible. So Bhashyakara says, Veda does not say anywhere that Jnana Karma Samuchaya can be done. That Jnanam and Karma can be combined for moksha. And therefore, first of all, there is no direct Shruti Pramanam for this Jnana Karma Samuchaya. And as we saw, Shruti Pramanam is the most powerful means of knowledge. So, Purva Pakshi's contention is based on an inference derived from the Shruti statements in Mundaka Upanishad. So, even though it is not a direct Pramanam, it is an indirect Shruti support for Jnana Karma Samuchaya, which is presented by the Purva Pakshi as Linga Praman. All these discussions are taking place in that background only. So, in the next sentence, Bhashyakara says that even Shruti cannot dismiss a direct Pramanam and favor or accept the Linga Praman. Shruti cannot direct what is stated directly in the Shruti Vakyas, cannot dismiss or negate and accept Linga Pramanam as valid. Because Shruti cannot make a statement which is illogical. Even if Shruti seems to make an illogical statement, that time Shruti has to be interpreted in such a way that the illogicality is dismissed and the statement is made logical. Because, sometimes Shruti's statement appears illogical because of lack of understanding of what Shruti wants to say. The problem is we do not understand properly and accuse the source, the Shruti. For example, in Kathopanishad, it is said, Swarga lokaha amrutatvam bhajante. People of heaven attain immortality. Now, this statement on the face of it seems illogical because attaining heaven is the result of karma. And the result cannot be imperishable. So the result of a karma cannot give amritatvam. It cannot be nityam. Even if some person, he earns a lot of punya and goes to Swargaloka, lives there for a long period of time, enjoys the Swargaloka. Then as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. People in Swarga, on exhaustion of their punya, will have to return to Bhuloka. So where is the question of immortality and imperishability? They will have to come back here. Now, since it looks illogical, what we have to do? We have to interpret the Shruti Vakya in such a way, the Kathopanishad Vakya in such a way, that illogicality is neutralized. So we interpret it as apekshika amritatvam. What is apekshika amritatvam? Compared to the life on earth, the life in Swarga is very long and there is no sorrow or grief. And that is what is called amritatvam. You know, it is just like saying that someone has got a permanent job. There can never be a permanent job. Do you understand that? Isn't it? Every job, there is a retirement. So no job is permanent. Permanent as long it lasts. That's all. But even in that, permanent, you think it is permanent, but the employer may not think it is permanent. For an employer, every employee is dispensable. But then normally what we imply is government job is a permanent job. Say, what it means that the job will last for a long time without interruption as compared to a temporary job. So this is how we have to understand, interpret the Shruti Vakyas. Of course, we did not worry about all these things because we are at a stage where there are so many Acharyas have done the job for us, interpreted, further interpreted, giving all the means of knowledge and all. All that we have to do is pick up the text or listen to those talks or something. We will understand all those things. So we need not, fret over it. Oh my God, I have to, if I have to interpret the Shruti, how will I do? That worry need not be there. And therefore, here, what Bhashyakara is saying is, Lingam, a Linga Pramanam is not capable of dismissing established reasoning that two opposite things cannot be coexisting in one person simultaneously, as pointed out in the previous statement. And therefore, Bhashyakara says that the reasoning that the Purva Pakshi has presented is extremely weak as compared to the Shruti Pramana. Because here, because they are Grihasthas and they are Brahmagyanis, the Purva Pakshi assumes that they were doing karma. Right? Now, there is nowhere it is stated that they were doing karma. Even though Shaunaka had a Mahashala, he is called a Mahashala, he had a big Yajneshala, it is never said that Shaunaka himself was doing the karma. He had a big Yajneshala. After getting Brahmajnana, maybe he has given up karma, but he continues with the Yajneshala because other people come and do yagas there. And that he is doing it for the purpose of Loka Sangraha. That karma for the benefit of the mankind. Not with the attitude of Aham Karta. The attitude of Aham Akarta is always there. Therefore, all this inferential thing can be subject to so many different interpretations. You cannot say my inference alone is correct, your inference is wrong. You cannot say that. And Bhashyakara not only is dismissing the Purva Pakshi, he goes to the extent of saying, in the next sentence, even if Shruti itself cannot do this, Shruti will not make a statement which is illogical. Even when Shruti seems to make an illogical statement, that time Shruti has to be interpreted in such a way that the illogicality is dismissed and the statement is made logical. That is what he says. Nahi vidhi shatenapi tamah prakashayo ho ekatra sadbhavah shakyate kartum kimuta lingaihi kevalaihi iti. He indeed, vidhishatenapi, even by hundreds of injunctions, tamaprakashayoho, of darkness and light, ekatra, at one place, sadbhava, coexistence, kartum, to bring about, na shakyate, is not possible. Shruti says, suppose Shruti says darkness and light can coexist in one place. Will you accept that statement? Because Shruti is saying, first of all, Shruti will not make such a illogical statement. Suppose there is a statement, as we saw, Katha Upanishad, there is a statement. Now, what do you mean by Amritatvam is a question of interpretation there. So suppose there is a statement, will you accept it? So here, the word vidhi refers to Shruti Pramana, which is the most powerful Pramana. And Bhashyakara is emphasizing the idea that vidhishatenapi, even by hundreds of Shruti Vakyas, we cannot bring about coexistence of light and darkness in one place at the same time. So even Shruti Pramanam cannot bring about what is illogical and impossible. And Jnanam and Karma are like light and darkness. Jnanam says, I am Akarta. Karma says, I am Karta. So their combination is illogical. So, Kimuta, what to speak of? Kevalaihi, mere lingaihi indicators. Iti, this is the meaning. So, in sum and substance, what he wants to say, when Shruti itself cannot establish the existence of light and darkness in one place, Shruti itself cannot establish the existence of two opposing things at one place simultaneously, then what to talk about the incapacity of the mere indicators like Linga Pramanam, etc. And therefore, Jnana Karma Samuchaya is not the teaching of Shruti. So very strongly he comes to say that unless you show that this is the direct Shruti Vakya, where it is said Jnana Karma Samuchaya is possible, we will not accept it. So now the Purva Pakshi may say, okay, that is fine. I understand where you are coming from. All the points you have made are all valid, so I accept them. But you have to explain the part of Grihastha Acharyas who have Jnanam and Karma combination simultaneously. You have not touched upon that particular aspect. You are talking about darkness, light and all. My specific point was that even though let it be Linga Pramanam, doesn't matter. It is a Pramanam. You have to give me an answer for that. Isn't it? So he says, what is your answer for that? And Bhashyakara's view is that we are not saying or doubting the fact that Grihasthas can be Jnanis. Even though taking to sannyasa is more conducive, but being a Grihastha also, one can get Jnanam. And they will continue to do karma. But we will not call them karma. They will be called karma bhasa. That such karmas will not create any adrishta phalam. They will not create any punyam papam. And since for creating phalam, kartrutvam is required, and for a jnani kartrutvam is not there, that karma which they will be doing as a jnani will not be equivalent to the karma that a grihastha has to perform as per the injunctions of Shruti. And this Bhagavan Krishna himself says in the 4th chapter of Gita, Gata Sangasya Muktasya Jnanavastita Chetasah Yajnayascharate Karma Samagram Praviliyate. So what is done by him is praviliyate, is dissolved. That means there is no karma phala remaining for him to give the result, even to contribute to moksha. And therefore, there is no question of karma of a wise person combining with jnanam to create moksha, because his understanding is that I do not do anything, I am akarta. And that is why it is called not karma, it is called karma bhasa. Karma abhasa. And moreover, for a wise person, there is no question of attaining moksha. Once he has gained the jnanam, what is the jnanam? The jnanam is, he already knows that he has always been a mukta purusha. So there is no question of now suddenly, traveling or reaching something to attain moksha. There is no question of attaining something which is already attained. So whether he continues to do karma or not, his moksha will not get affected. So even karma bhasa is not giving him moksha. So in the case of a wise person, the Purva Pakshi connecting karma to moksha is not correct. And consequently, his contention that jnana karma samuchaya is the means for moksha is also not correct. This is how Bhashyakara concludes his discussion on jnana karma samuchaya and also on Anubandha Chatushtaya of this Upanishad. And he also indirectly establishes that Anubandha Chatushtaya of Karma Kanda is different from Jnana Kanda. The primary adhikari for Karma Kanda is a Grihastha. Vishaya is karma and karma phala, the means and ends achieved by karma. The prayojanam is dharma, artha, kama, and the benefit is chitta shuddhi. And sambandha is nodhya, nodaka sambandha, the impeller and impelled. Karma is nodhya, karma kanda is nodaka. So it is an indirect sambandha. It tells you if you do this karma, you will get the result. It only gives information, but does not guarantee the result. On the contrary, I'll just take one more minute, 1 or 2 minutes to complete this. Okay. On the contrary, the primary adhikari for Jnana Kanda is a sannyasi. Vishaya is Brahma Vidya. Prayojanam is moksha. Sambandha is direct. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati, it says. Other than knowing, nothing else is required to be done. So all the 4 Anubandhams are distinct with Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. So since Anubandha Chatushtaya of Vedanta is different from Karma Kanda, this Upanishad is Vyakyayaha, deserves to be commented upon. Of course, Bhashyakara doesn't use the word Vyakyayaha, but we are supplying. Vyakyayaha means deserves to be commented upon separately, because it is a different Shastra as compared to Karma Kanda. So the general technique of commenting on where the Purva Bhaga will not work, this requires a special technique, special attention, and a special treatment is required for this particular portion called Veda Anta or Vedanta. More we will see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavada hai everyone.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದः
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ. Thank you, Guruji.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಗುರುಜಿ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaste.
Namaste.
I'm taking side of power in one mind.
Yes, Girish ji.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om.
I just wanted to know, is this Brahma Vidya originated by Brahmaji?
No.
Okay.
Brahma Vidya origination is from Bhagavan.
Okay.
As I told you in one of the earlier classes, no, that's why it says Sadashiva Samarambha. So what happened is, first Brahmaji was created.
Okay.
And then Bhagavan transferred the Brahma Vidya to Brahmaji to propagate it.
Okay.
So that is how the Brahma Vidya is come. Actually speaking, it was heard by the rishis. All this Veda heard by rishis and then given.
It was beginningless. Yes.
Beginningless times. Nobody knows where it started, when it started.
Okay.
So that is what it is. Yeah. Any other question?
Yes. Yeah, Krishnan here.
Yeah, Krishna, tell me. Ji.
See, today's session, my understanding, I would like to place before you. In recent time now, for last about 1 month, Sringeri Sannidhanam is in Chennai. And for a couple of times I have attended that. Now, today's session, when you are talking about Grahasthashram and Sannyasashram, and you're saying sannyasi also does the karma. Now, when I see Sannidhanam performing the Chamundeshwari Puja and all that, that is all part of his karma, but that karma has no, it is done more for the Yogakshemam, not for his own result. Whereas the karma, what we are doing, or at least we are trying to do, is one with some kind of a phalam. So which means this entire one lifetime will go in just doing this karma with a little bit of understanding of what is this Brahmajnanam. It might take a lifetime. As you, some few classes before, you said that those who have attained that Brahmajnanam, who has been a Grahastha, but towards the end he has completely understood Brahmajnanam, in the next Janma, he is born, or he is he takes the avatar of sannyasa. I don't know whether I have made it very
say that, see,
simple things.
If somebody
understand
has,
this.
I'll just clarify, if somebody has pursued Brahmajnana and not reached the goal of moksha in this life, for whatever reason, no? Because Brahmajnanam requires a certain degree of effort. For example, you do Shravanam, Mananam, and then Nididhyasanam you have to do. So in Nididhyasanam, suppose he has not been able to complete. But he has gained Shravanam, he has completed, Mananam, he has completed. So in context of Bhagavad Gita, the question of Arjuna was, if such a situation is there, he has completed, finals he has come. But there are few papers which he has not passed.
Yeah.
Will he get degree or not? Or he has to start again because he has failed in the final. Will he have to start again from, higher secondary or whatever it is, and then he will again come to final and again will he pass? Krishna says, no, there is a system which is called, I don't know what is the system called, that
To carry over.
carryover. So he just needs to complete those papers, pass those papers, and he will get the degree. So in the next Janma, all that he needs to do, he need not study again first year, second year and all. Whatever papers are left, he has to put in some more efforts for passing that. Once he passes, he will get the degree, he will get moksha. So the effort in the next Janma will be much less than what you have put in this Janma.
Yes.
That is the context. Now, if you are going to do karma entire life, this Janma, no jnana, let us assume there is no jnanam, the person doesn't have not even heard of Vedanta. Then that karma, what he does, will give him punyam, papam, whatever it is, because he has been doing it with the attitude, I am the doer, correct?
Yes.
So he will get all the punyam, papam. When we are talking about sannyasi, that is acharyas and all that, whom you mentioned, they are sannyasis and they are jnanis, right? So there, whenever they are performing karma, they are performing those karmas or doing those pujas, as you said, for loka sangraha. And they are doing with an attitude of being akarta. So
Yes.
whatever punyam, papam, etc., nothing will accrue to them. So that is why it is called abhasa. Abhasa means it looks like karma, but it doesn't have the what you can call the
benefits or the results.
benefits or the good, bad benefits of the karma.
Yes.
In fact, it is in another Bhashyam, I don't remember which, Bhashyakara gives an example of a roasted seed. Roasted seed looks like a seed, correct?
Yes.
But it will not germinate.
Correct.
Similarly, the karmas which they do, to us it appears to be karma, puja and all that, but those are like roasted seeds. It will not give any phalam.
Yes.
So that is how we have to understand the pujas, upasanas and all done by these Mathadipatis who are Gyanis, who have gained Brahma Jnana. And we must not say, see, another reason is if they don't do, nobody will do. Oh, he himself is not doing, why should I do? That will be the question. So in order to that, for that reason also, so that people are not, they don't find a reason to go away from this Sanatana Dharma, these duties and Vedas. So they also do those karmas. And as a, so people will follow them. This is how we have to understand all these things. Okay.
Yeah, very clear.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hari Om. Yes, Premaji.
Guruji,
Yeah.
my question is where the karma phala has been erased because of chitta shuddhi, etc. And so he is already a mukta purusha. You said something which was distorted by my iPad. You said something about impelled and the impeller. I don't.
Yeah, karma. See the relationship when you see in Karma Kanda, what is the relationship between what is said and what is done? It's an indirect relationship. Karma Kanda says you do this karma, that's the impeller, and the karta is the impelled. He has to do the karma. Then only you will get the benefit of that. So you do the karma. If you don't do the karma, you won't get any benefit. So the connection between the karma, what the Shastra says, and the benefit of that is indirect. Because in between you have to do something. Whereas in Vedanta, when you get jnanam, you become a jnani. You don't need to do anything after that. So it's a direct relationship. So that's why in the earlier guys, it's a sadhana sadhya relationship. And here it is suddenly nodya nodaka relationship. Nodya nodaka means the impeller, which is actually ordaining do the karma. Nodaka means the performer, the person who has to do. The relationship which is there, it has no connection with the punya papa or the going to swarga and all that, isn't it? If he does all that, then only you have to get that swarga. In the case of the Vidya, after learning, well, in Karma Kanda, what? First you have to learn what is to be done. Correct? Because for doing also, you have to know how it's to be done. You learn first, then you do, then you get the phala. 3 stages. In Vedanta, you learn, you get the phala. Understand the difference? You don't need to do anything in between. And in fact, that is a very, very valid issue which you raised, because many people who come to Vedanta, they have this understanding that one has to, it is like, in chemistry and all, you first then practical and all that, So first you have to do, and then you have to do meditation. Meditation is the practical, then you have to visualize the Brahman and all that. And once you visualize that Brahman is what is called enlightenment. And that is what is called moksha. This understanding is that many people have got this understanding. And they don't say, how can knowing something will be becoming something? Vedanta says, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. How can that happen? So it is not possible. That is there. Another Purva Pakshi group is there. They don't accept this. But our point is, we are Vedantins. What Vedanta says, we have Shraddha. We believe in that. And we follow it. And people who have followed, they have attained it. So for us, they are the people who are, our guide and our role models. So let us also continue in that path. That's what we are doing now. Okay. So it's a sambandha.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Who is that? Is it Hariji? Hariji, you are like this, what is that called, comet. Appears once in a while. Last 3 classes, I missed you. Can you hear me?
You are muted.
Hariji is muted. No, not muted.
We can't hear you, Hari.
You can hear any one of you? No.
No,
Yes.
we are not able to.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Guruji, my wife had to undergo a minor surgery. So,
All that I request everybody is send me a small message in WhatsApp. For 3 weeks, you don't find time to send a message. What do you understand?
no,
I am not a Purva Pakshi that I infer. In your absence means somebody shall be sick in your house or they will have a surgery. How can I assume? I will think that okay, Hariji is not so much. He must have found my class.
no. You know, I am one of the.
So he doesn't want to attend it. That's what I will
I
assume.
don't. I don't think that you would have assumed in that.
No, I'm joking. Anyhow, tell me, what is your question?
I have two queries. Is it this akarta when you are talking that the karma and jnana and karma, is it the concept of inaction,
Yeah.
which you
Inaction,
have
inaction is the concept, yeah.
that is so that is one, and secondly is brahmaiva brahma bhavati.
Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati.
Brahma. Now I have a fundamental question here. How can I know Brahma? Because
By
if I
Shravanam.
if I can know Brahman, that means I can know only a thing which I am not. So
No.
if you say that
You see, what the Shastra says,
uh,
that you are Brahman, you know that. Only thing is, because of your ignorance, you are not realizing that you are Brahman. So all that the Shastra is doing is removing the ignorance. So the knowledge automatically comes.
so that then the way it has been put, uh, those who know Brahman, they become Brahman. That statement is a little bit confusing, no? Because I am already Brahman. I can't become a Brahman.
Yeah.
Brahmaiva Bhavati means I become Brahman, which indirectly means I am not Brahman now. Only by removing my ignorance, I will become Brahman, which is fundamentally not correct, is it not?
I
Because
think
I
I
am
have told this number of times in Bhagavad Gita class also.
yeah.
That you must not interpret these Vedic sentences like you interpret Sanskrit sentences.
Okay.
That is why you require a guru.
Okay.
There is, when we say attaining moksha, there is no question of attaining anything.
Yeah, because I am already that. I
You are
cannot
already
attain.
that. But then we do use in our, when explaining and attaining moksha.
Yeah.
But these are all words.
Limitation in the language.
Limitation in the language. Upanishads have got a very difficult problem. What is Brahman? You are Brahman. And what is the situation? You don't even any iota of idea that you are Brahman.
Yeah.
Upanishad says you are limitless. You are of the nature of consciousness, but you have no clue about all those things. You are thinking, I am so and so and so. This is my body, beautiful body I have got. And I used to have a lot of hair. Now no hair. All that you are thinking yourself to be. Upanishad says all your problems in life, unhappiness in life, is because of your wrong identification. You are identifying with this body, mind, sense complex, which are perishable. And you are trying throughout your life to become imperishable, which is what you are. So all your struggles are what? From thinking you are perishable, you want to become imperishable, and that's why you struggle. And all the struggle brings you what? Unhappiness, sorrow, grief, everything. Right? So what is required? Change your identification. If you change your identification, fine. Then you will realize that I am imperishable. All this body, mind, sense complex is not me. I am something different from this. That is what is knowledge. So the moment you know that Brahmavit, Brahmaiva Bhavati, then nothing more is to be done. You change your identification, that's all. All along you have been, see that the beautiful story of that prince,
Yeah.
I think one of the classes here or Bhagavad Gita, I think Bhagavad Gita class I narrated that. Puja Swamiji says, there's this prince. When childhood, he was kidnapped, or there was an attack and he was taken away by one of the ministers. Then he grew up in a family of some nomads, doing all this, all these kind of things. Now, when he grows up, that old minister who had actually saved this prince comes and tells him that you are actually the prince of this country, this thing. Next, you will be the king. So he says, how do I do that? He says, just go to the palace, show them this particular ring or whatever something is there, which was found on your body. Yeah, the bucket, and you will be made the king of this country. What does he need to do? After knowing that, will he again be say, no, I will go and do all this, what that show and all that, like a nomad, will he do that? When he knows he is the king, will he go on the streets and do all those things? Similarly, here what? By knowing he is prince, he becomes a prince. Isn't it? Nothing is to be done. He did not fight a war to become a prince or anything. He just has to go and claim himself before the, who are governing council or the king. I am the prince. And here is the proof. That's it. He becomes the king and the prince and king. So that is the concept. If you understand this example, which is a beautiful example given by Puja Swamiji, you will know the meaning of Brahmavid, Brahmaiva Bhavati. All that you need to know what your real nature is. Everything will change. All these impurities like Kama, Krodha, Mada, Matsarya, everything will change, will go away. All that are related to your body. When you know I am not this body sense complex, you don't have any raga dvesha. In fact, in Krishna, time and again, Bhagavad Gita, when we see, this is what he is emphasizing. You cannot have samatva bhavana other than this. If you assume yourself to be body, mind, sense complex, you cannot be you cannot have samatvam, which is what foolishly many people attempt. You cannot have samatvam because you are different. You are a man, somebody is a woman, somebody is a child. How can all be same? You can have the samatvam attitude only if you realize what your real nature is. That you are consciousness, other person is consciousness, third person is consciousness. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. If you realize I am Satyam Jnanam Sachidananda Swarupa, everybody in this universe is also Sachidananda Swarupa. That is what will establish Samatvam. Nobody is different, everybody is the same. At the body, mind, sense complex level, everybody is different. Isn't it? So this is what we have to understand.
I think it is all a little bit of confusion because of the English language. We try to translate the Shastric words and expressions into English. Say we always say, I am evolving, or you study Vedanta so that you can evolve. That when we say evolve, from the Shastric sense, evolution can happen only for the body and mind. Our inner nature cannot, because it is already an evolved thing. But
Yeah.
we always say we are. I go and ask my guru, what do you feel about me? Have I evolved? I have been attending classes. I have been doing Sravana and Manana. Do you think that I am developing? I am evolving. This evolving and developing and all is connected only with my body and mind.
Yes.
But if I go into the depth, there is no evolution because I am already a developed.
Yeah, correct. Well, to
So
some
if,
extent, it is a difficulty because of the language translations and all that, no doubt.
yeah,
But even if you take Sanskrit language,
yeah,
our orientation is always like that, you know. So what
yeah,
Shruti does is it goes with our orientation.
yeah,
Because what for us, whenever we do something, we expect something, correct? We want, there's a goal I want to achieve. So I need
yeah,
to do toward it. If you do not, if you already know what you can say, doer, and I am the goal also, then there you need not do anything. It is because we feel the goal is different than us.
yeah,
Then we do these things, isn't it? So this is
yeah,
the process through which Shruti takes us. See, the
Guruji, just
best
a comment.
example, another Acharya gave this example,
yeah,
is that the in algebra and all that we assume an x unknown
yeah.
factor,
Unknown.
right? We
Let the
solve the
solution be.
equation and remove the effect of x. But for solving the equation, that x is required.
Yeah,
So when we come to the end, we will know that this x is not required. Or we will remove the effect of x. So similarly, Vedanta also says, okay, now because you are identifying your body, mind, sense complex, and body, mind is all orientation is towards doing something, achieving something. So the words even in Shruti it uses is attaining moksha, right? All
yeah,
those kind of words they use.
true,
But
true.
Shruti feels that once you're matured enough, your thinking is matured enough, then you will ignore all these kind of language issues and you will understand what exactly Shruti is meaning. Then you are beyond language. You don't need to be told Bhavati and Anupapatti and all that. They are all at the language level. When you realize what your real self is, it is Gunatita hai, Bhashatita hai, it is beyond everything. Isn't it? So that language restriction or limitation will also go away.
Yeah,
So that is what it is, and you have to keep working towards that. And then finally we will know, when I'm a Jnani, all these things don't matter to me at all.
in short, I can experience only what I am not. I can never experience what
Yes,
I am.
not experience. You cannot become what you are not.
Yeah, yeah,
You can only become. That is why Shruti says, if I go on telling you that take a black cat and keep on washing it and make it white, it will never happen.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
See, the Tenali Raman story and all, we have to understand like that only.
yeah,
Unless you are already that, unless you are already Brahman, and that you do not know about it, then only Shruti will help. Nobody, Guru, Shruti, Bhagavan also cannot make you Brahman if you are
yeah,
not, isn't it? So the basic logical assumption is all this is because I am Brahman originally. I don't know that. All I need to do is to discover that. That's all. It's not
praptasya
becoming,
prapti.
it is discovering.
Praptasya prapti.
Praptasya prapti.
Yeah.
That is what it is. Okay. Right. Any other question? Ilva? Okay.
Guruji,
Yeah.
one comment.
Yeah.
I remembered Paramarthanandaji's statement that Karna did not have to do anything after he learned he was a Kaunteya, not Radheya. It's only the knowledge that converted him.
No, I didn't get you what you have said. Karma?
For Karna listened from Kunti that he was her son.
Huh.
So for him to convert from Radheya to Kaunteya, it is only knowledge, nothing
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, correct. Correct. Only knowledge. That's a good example. Our Swamiji gives a lot of good examples. Sometimes it occurs to us, sometimes we forget that. Okay. Very true.
Thank you. Namaskaram.
And also, just a comment. Somebody said, it's all a journey. Initially, I am somebody. Then realizing I am nobody. Then telling that, then understanding that I am everybody. It's a journey.
Yeah.
Because that I is gone.
Yeah.
That is the main obstacle.
Correct.
The journey starts with there. From there,
Yeah.
then one step, and the next step is I am everybody. So you are finding Brahman in everybody.
Right.
That's it.
That is true. That is how it is. Yeah. Nicely put. Right.
Hari Om Guruji. Thank you.
Hari Om. Okay. Meet up in the next class.